Hello guys, finally this is 2024 and as you can see in every single year there is a change in the web development framework, and now we have the Nextjs 14, which is really exciting thing because it has a lot of amazing functionality that is completely revolutionized our entire web development process and how you interact with it. And it has the best of the both world. It has the server component. Along with the server component, you can use the client side component where you can do the interactions, all the button handling, event handling, form input, all of the awesome stuffs. And you can do the form submission as well. And when the server component fires, basically all the components in the Nextjs application is actually the server component. But especially when you need interactions, then you can use client component, but mostly it is a server component. So today, to show you every single thing like the new app routing system, server actions, form handling, search feature, Prisma ORM, the backend feature as well as the front-end feature, everything will be covered in this particular course. And this video gonna be in two parts mainly. One video is to handle all the things related to the blog, and the second part is to handling all the features, including the comment section implementation and how you're gonna use this form status hook or different kind of awesome hook and make our UI look much better and awesome. And in this two part, we're gonna learn everything part by part, where I'm gonna show you everything, all the core objectives of this video. Okay, so the main core objectives of this video is the app routing, server actions, and how you can handle Prisma ORM code functionality with it. And this, which is a really new thing, and this is really awesome. And we have the form submission, and how we're going to use this search feature using the use search params. We can get the data from our search form and we're going to query everything based on it, and it would be really real time. And I think you're going to understand a lot of things if you watch this particular video. So this is a Nextjs 14 project. Okay, so you have to understand something like how the components structure works. So previously in the React project, we used to work on React component. All of them are client component. All runs on JavaScript and is on the browser. But the problem is with the SEO. We didn't have a good quality SEO, and when the Google scroller search for your content on your website, it didn't find any content on your website on the instance when you load the applications. It is empty. It has only a div root, nothing else. So that's the problem with raw React applications. It is not giving you the flexibility to optimize all other things like SEO, images, routing systems. All other thing is you have to dependent on other libraries a lot, which is really hectic thing. But now Nextjs solves all the problem. It has all the thing now in server component. You can do all the server actions and server CRUD operations, all the logics, backend logic there. And you can also pass this information to the client component. When you need some information like get some data from the button click or handle form submissions or input, get some data from the input, then you can use client component in combined. So you get the best of the both worlds. You have the server component, along with it you can use the client component along with it when you need it. But most of the cases I recommend just keep everything server component, and when you need some interaction, use the client component. So here I have given a simple example like a server components. What it does, it doesn't just throw you all the thing in the in your browser. Okay, first it renders everything. When I request for something, for like any page you request on your API or in your backend, and it will give you all the HTML rendered for when you requested for this data. It will just render and give you the raw HTML. Okay, this is the server component, and there is no interaction on the server, so that's why it's called server component. But when it becomes client component, there is some interactions. Okay, so I'm going to tell you everything by the code, as it is a project-based learning. You have to understand by making a project. Okay, so the server component are like the listing page, blog listing, project listing, course listing, where you don't have any interactions. When you want to implement any services like third-party API or any services, you need to load data from that places. Then you can use this thing, fetching data, querying data from the database, from the Prisma ORM or any other ORM. You can work with it on a page level. This is a page level application. In the root, we have this server component. And then we have the client component that does all the form handling, event handling, input handling, all the rest of the stuffs. Right? You have to be clear about it. You will understand more when I show you this main page. Okay, this is a simple application that you're gonna build, and you're gonna understand why it's like that. Like it has some component which is Navbar component, which it will have some link. It can have any pattern interactions maybe, and then if you have any interactions, that make it a client component. And suppose we have this search anything here. This is a simple component inside our root page or our home page or our main page. And this search thing is actually interactive. You need to get some data, some query data, whatever the user search here. You need to get the thing, and based on that you're gonna query all of the blogs or the post or the courses or the products, each of the thing. For every other purposes it works perfectly. You need to get the query string, and based on that you need to get the data from our database on the main page. So this search, this component is a client component. Okay, so you need to have some interaction. So just make this simple component is a client component, but the whole page, whole main page is actually server component, where wherever you need some interaction like search anything or any navbar, then you're going to use it as client component and going to import it inside the server component. Okay, so that's the main important part. And here on the left side you see this is the blog listing, or this is the main page or the detail page of the blog. Here you'll see the blog title, category, this image URL, all of the other stuffs. Okay, so this page is actually just rendering all the content on your web page. So this is just a raw content. You don't need to have any interaction. But so this part is actually a server component. You don't need to just write it, especially this is a server component. When inside the main page, all the thing is server component, but when you need specific client component like search anything, navbar component, you just import it as a client component. Okay, and whenever we have like this write comment and submit comment, these are interactive part. You need to get some data to write on the comment section and submit it using the event handling, form handling, or form submission. You need to add form, you need to add a comment to this blog or this post or any other thing, then it is interactive. So this part is client component. Okay, so you have to understand this, what is going to happen. So if I show you this write component, this submit component, this is a client component. Okay, this is a client component because it has some interaction, but the whole page is server component. Only this part is client component. Okay, only this part is client component. And you have other thing, like you have the comment list here inside the main page. This is the blog's main page where you will have to render like all the comments based on this particular blog. It have one-to-many relationship with the comments, and it has 2 comments. Okay, so these are our non-interactive part. It means that you just load the data from the database, okay, from query, and you don't need to have any client side. So this is not a client component. This is automatically a server component, and you don't need to just explicitly define it as a server component. By default, this is a server component. So you don't need to define it. But when you are adding a delete component here, this is the delete button, where you're gonna make a delete button and submit into the form actions using the server action. So you're gonna delete this comment each by each. When you're gonna do that, this 2 button is a form submission. This is the event. When you click on this form will have some event handling. Okay, and it will delete the comment. So this part is a client component. So this part is a client component. So what you are getting, this whole page is server component, including all the blog listings or the individual blog detail, and its comment, which is just the fetching of the comment from the database, just a query. So this part is as default just a simple asynchronous component, which is comment list, and this is a blog's individual data. This is also a server component, this is also a server component. But when you want to have a delete like this, then you have to import button, and this button would be client component, and this would be mid component. So you have to understand this, why we have to do this. And when you make this project, you understand every single thing from the ground up, why it's like that. So let's understand what's the thing here. So if you want to work with the Nextjs projects, Nextjs 14, you have to make sure you just install the Nodejs. So that is the main prerequisite. Okay, you have just make sure you install the latest version, which is 20.11.0 is recommended for most users. You just to install it and just set up the path. Okay, so this is very easy for you. And you need to work with the MongoDB database. You need to set up it, and also you need to work with the Prisma as well. As you can see, this is the prisma.io website where you can get all the thing. Okay, so we're gonna work with the MongoDB. So you need to make sure you just go into the MongoDB database. If you are using relational database, you have to use this. So if you just go to MongoDB, here you'll see all the documentation regarding it. So first, what you have to do, we just need to install our applications. Okay, In the web development framework, in the Nextjs playground, I'm gonna just open our terminal, and here you have to write npx create next app @latest. If you want to install the Nextjs 14 latest version and use the server actions feature, so npx create next app /latest, and you're gonna get the next latest version of the Nextjs 14. Okay, and all the features like app routing and others. So you just wait a bit and give your project a name, and I'm gonna give it next blog YT. Okay, and it says, would you like to use TypeScript? I'm saying no, this is not for TypeScript user. ESLint no, Tailwind CSS, and it says if you want to use Tailwind CSS, I say yes. Source directory, no, I don't want source directory, but this is important. If you want to use app router and server actions feature, like I'm going to implement in this particular project, you have to say yes, it is recommended by them. And if you want to customize the default import aliases, and if you don't want the long string of import // if you don't want this, you can just use yes. I just say default is no, but you can use this stuff. Okay, so it's installed perfectly. Now I just open it in VS Code, next blog YT. Open it code. As you can see, this is a very simple file structure, and in the public folder you have two logos, which is next svg and Vercel, which is not that important, it's just a junk. You have the next config file, and when you're gonna use the image URL, you need to give a path. If you just use image from other external resources like GitHub, Facebook, Twitter, all of this stuff, you need to make sure you define the domain here. This is very important. And if you go to the package.json, you will have this React DOM next is installed, and this is our dev dependency. As you can see, the Tailwind CSS is also already installed, and you have the next dev. And when you run npm run dev, it will just install, it will just run your Nextjs applications. And then if we just go into the app routing, and as you can see layout.js, and as you can see you have your metadata, you can just give your own title description in every page. You can do this stuff. This is very similar, and this is the root layout, is the entire root layout of your application. This is the main root layout, and as you can see in the HTML, whatever you write here, you will see this thing. Okay, so this is really important feature. And if I write something here, you will see this. If I just write hello world, okay, you're gonna see this thing. And this is our page.js, which is the root page. This is the home page, and by default I'm gonna delete everything they have. This is just a simple junk, I don't want anything. Okay, hello world. Okay, this is your main page. Whatever you just write here, this would be a root page, home page. Okay, this is your home page, and we don't need any image here because there is no image. And this is the root layout. Whatever you have, as you can see, children, it will wrap it with the thing. Okay, so you can make it a simple navigation component here, navigation component, and you're gonna see this stuff here. Okay, so let me make a navigation component, and this is suppose home, and you can make other, this is about. You can make your navigation component and set up here, and it would be used in overall all the pages on the top of it. Okay, and this would be the children that would be rendered on anything other than this component, and this would be the wrap with the children. Here it can be anything dynamic, like any pages component or any other thing it can show, like it will show this one. So this is actually the childs of this layout. Okay, or any other child. If I make any other new folder like blogs, okay, and here if I just write page.jsx, it will also work. So let me make it, and this should be the blogs page. Okay, it will show you all the blogs, and by default this is the server component. Okay, so let's check it out and let's see. Okay, and make sure you just use git bash and npm run dev. So let's see what it does. As you can see, we have the li tags. These are the li tags, and this is the hello world. And whatever you write in the page.jsx would be the content here. If I write welcome to Nextjs 14 course, okay, and it will be rendered here. Whatever we write, this is inside the main content. And by default, I'm just keeping it empty here. And in the layout, I need to make sure I just build a nav component or nav component, okay? And to build a component, you can just use here new folder component, and make sure you just name it components, then it would be better. And another folder is for UI, where we'll have some buttons. You can add a button here, and you have your libs folder. When needed, you can add this thing. Okay, so let's first make our navigation components. Navbar.jsx. Okay, so our entire navigation section is already built up. I'm just getting the code here so that I save you tons of time. So let's do this stuff. So first is the button component. This is the thing that I'm gonna use. Okay, so this is the button component, and this should be reusable. button.jsx. Okay, and here I'm gonna paste all the button, and make sure it is the use client component, because button is a client component. I just make it just reusable, just giving it a label or color, and whatever label you say, like submit, add component, update something, whichever you say, you just show it here. Okay, so this is a reusable component. This is how we'll just make it. And here some other components, and this component is for Navbar component, and I have to get it. Don't worry, you will have all the link in the GitHub description below, but not before this, just after finishing this thing. Okay, and this is a Navbar component. As you can see, I already set up everything for you. Okay, so here what you just have to do is paste everything. Okay, Navbar components, and make sure you just import link from the next link and the image from the next image. And this make sure this is also client components. And this is the href. Before that, we used to use link to in the React, but in the Nextjs we have to use slash and give the image. And image has a tons of high quality features, so we're gonna discuss it later, but not now. It has the quality to make sure you just give whichever quality you want. It the required field is height, weight, and the resources, and you need to give this path like avatar.githubcontent.com, these sources properly to the Nextjs config here, otherwise it won't work. Okay, you also make sure you do that. And we need to create one more routing. One more routing is for add blog, blog/add blog. Okay, and add blog, and here we're gonna use page.jsx. And when you do that, let me show you what it does. Add blog. Okay, add blog page. Okay, let me show you what it does. Suppose if I am going to blogs/add blog, as you can see, it will give me add blog page. Okay, if I just zoom in, it will just redirect to add blog page. And when I just go to /blogs only, it will show me the blogs. Okay, so if I just go to /blogs, it will show me the blogs. So this is the routing system. This is the app routing system. Okay, just give it a name. Suppose if you want to create an add blog page, and under that you need to give it a page. Here we'll have a form later. And this is the root page where I'm gonna show all the blogs from the database. This is our home page for the blog segment. This is the module blog. Okay, if I want to make another blog, another folder like course, then this would be another page. Like if I just write page.jsx, and this should be RFCE, and this should be course course list. If I just go to app/course, it will show us this course lists. So if I just go to blog app/course, it will show me course list. Okay, so this is the routing. This is how the routing works. So let me remove this thing. We don't need this stuff. Okay, so our routing is very simple. Now let me show you the navigation section. So this thing is created, add blog /add blog, and it will go to this page. Okay, and if you just write /blogs, it will go to this page. So you have to redefine that. Okay, so let me import it inside our layout page here on the top of the children. Okay, so that it gets rendered in all the pages. This is a reusable to every other pages. If I go to detail page, if you go to update page, create page, every pages, it should be there on the top. Okay, so let me show you. So it says there's some problem. Avatar GitHub user content.org next image hostname. So this is the hostname that you need to use in the next config.js file. So that's what I wanted to show you. Images, and here you need to just write domains, and in the domains you just need to use this thing. You can use multiple domains here, you can other domains here, it's up to you. And if we just use this thing and just go to the root page, as you can see, now it works perfectly. If I go to create blog, it goes to add blog. If I go to home, it shows all the blog. As you can see, our routing is working perfectly. And by the way, first time when you load this application, it will take some time to go to one page to another page. It would not be that fast like the React, because first time it is server-side rendering, but second, when you do this second time, it would be instant. As you can see, it is instant now, because first time it caches, it takes some time for this. Okay, so this is perfect. It looks beautiful. And this our navigation component is done, and I'm gonna talk about it about the image component later when I'm gonna implement some other features, but not now because it has some amazing features. In full detail I'm gonna work. And now if I want to create a dynamic routing, okay, so blog / here we have new folder, and you need to use this square bracket ID. Okay, so this is the dynamic ID. You can give it any name, like blog, you can give blog ID, comment ID, whatever you like. And not only that, you need to add a page.jsx again, because this would be the actual page. This would be the blog detail page. Okay, and here if I just zoom in, you can get it using the params. So here I'm gonna console.log. This is the params, and I just want to show you what it gives. And okay, so it should go to the blog. So you just pass any ID, and it should you should go to blog /ID. Any ID, you just catch it. Okay, so let's check it out. So if blog /ID of 1, as you can see, now it is in the detail page. Now if I just inspect it and console it, as you can see, because this is not a server, because this is not a client component, you won't see this ID inside the console.log here. Rather, in the JavaScript, you don't see this inside your browser. The problem is that this is a server component, this is not a client component. That's the thing the Nextjs is all about. All the components are by default server components, so you don't see here. Whatever you see here is inside the terminal. So this is the part, like the Nodejs, you used to have this terminal where it renders all the informations from the database or any other thing. This because this is a backend. This is your server components, as you can see, because this is not use client. If I use client, then it will show us. Okay, otherwise not. By default, they are all server components. And as you can see in the params, we have an ID, and this ID is similar to this ID, whatever you named it. And if I just write here ID, const ID is equals to params So params.id, this is how you get the ID, and here you're gonna get the dynamic ID. So let's see. Okay, as you can see, this is the dynamic ID. If I use 2, you see this 2 ID. If I use 3, you get this 3 ID. Now one thing I want to show you here, and that is how to make a not found page, because it is related. So that's why I'm doing it. So in the page, in the root level of the app, okay, not inside the blogs, because this is one blog module, not here. Inside the app, in the root, I'm gonna make not found page .js. And if you don't understand what it is, you just need to go to here and you just need to find the components, file conventions, not found.js. All the thing is inside the documentation. You will have this thing, and make sure you name it not found, and whatever you want to render, you can render it whatever you like. So it should be inside app slash the root path of not found.js, like this, whatever I have done. Okay, so you can do this stuff. This is for the all the components. Okay, and if you want to make it for individual, you can do this, like inside the blog module, you can also build this not found page. It will work for only the blog, not for all the pages. But if you just make it outside of this module, inside this root app, okay, root app folder, you just make this not found page, it will work for all the modules. You can just access it. Okay, so in the not found page, you need to just make sure, and then you can name it anything, like we used to do in React. Okay, not found, detail page not found, detail page not found. Suppose you are just doing it, and you can just remove this thing, detail page not found. So let's do this. Let's do like here, suppose we have some problem. If the ID is like 4, okay, so programmatically we just show not found. As you can see, we can access it. We can easily access it as it is coming from next navigation, not found page. We can easily access it. So let's check it out. So if I give an ID of 4, as you can see, we can see this is really awesome. It is just working just a magic. Detail page not found. We are inside a blog module, but we don't have anything in the compo. As you can see, we don't have anything, any not found page inside this blog module. We don't have this thing. We didn't build it separately. We just build it outside in the root directory, and it will access for all the thing. For blog module, for other common module, it will work just fine. You can just do it programmatically if you want to do this. And if you just do this for only this blog, then you should make it inside here, inside the blog, which is not found.jsx. Then you can build it out. Not found, or not found about ID. Okay, if I just now do it here, and we're gonna import it here, not found. Now let's check it out. Now let's see what happens if I give it, okay, not found about ID. Now not found about ID. If I go there, if I go to not found blog ID, I should have named it better so that you can understand it. And I have gave the ID of 4, not found blog ID, so it works for this individual blog. Okay, and also for the root. So I'm just removing it. I don't want this thing. You can add it later. Okay, so it is not that mandatory, and I'm also deleting it. I just wanted to show you how it works. Okay, now let me show you the nested system. Now we have the blog ID. Now this is the blog ID, and we wanted to get the comment ID as well for this blog ID. So how can we do this stuff? So create another ID, and I'm just name it comment ID. Okay, inside one blog ID, I'm going to another level, which is nested level comment ID, and here I'm gonna just name it page.jsx. okay, here this is a comment detail. Suppose this is a comment detail page. Okay, so what we get inside the params? So I'm so curious to see. So console.log params. So I'm so curious to see what it gives. So first we need to go to blog ID, then comment ID. So how can we get this stuff? Blog ID / comment ID of 6. Okay, as you can see, blog ID and then comment ID, we are going inside the comment detail page. So we are now inside the comment detail page. Beautiful. And we have two params. As you can see, we have the ID, which is the ID of the blog. As you can see, this is the ID of blog 4. And we have one more thing, which is comment ID, which is this comment ID. And as you can see, I have also named it comment ID inside the square bracket, so that's why you need to access it. So we have two ID, which is normal ID, which is the blog ID, and then the comment ID. So you can easily access it. The first one is the ID, this is the comment ID, and then we have the console.log, and this is the comment ID. And how you can get it? Params.comment ID, and this one is blog ID. This is blog ID, because this is the blog ID, this is individual blog ID, this is dynamic, and then we have comment ID. So we need to catch both of those things if I want to go inside this comment detail page. Now, as you can see, you can get this stuff, and in this terminal, as you can see, we have the blog ID, comment ID, blog ID, comment ID. So how beautiful is that? You can even do this. It's really amazing if you want to do this stuff. Okay, so this is how the nested thing works. Okay, so I hope you are getting the point what I'm talking about. So this page is really important to get the detailed information. So now it's time to show you the routing system capabilities that we have. So if I just go inside the home page, you see the blogs and add blogs. So let me refresh it first. As you can see, we see all the content. So this is really good for SEO friendly. And in the console, in the network tab, I just filtered with the fetch. And if we are going to the add blog, as you can see, it is just rendering something from the database. Okay, it is just getting the data from the server. As you can see, it is requesting for some data. As you can see, face server response. So it makes sure that it says that this is a server component, because it had to load something from the server. As you can see, it is fetching with the status code of 200. When you go to home, as you can see, now it's inside the blog page, and this is the blog listing page. And also it had to request it to the server that I wanted this page. So it is not directly just dumping every information like the React application. All the thing loads first, bundle, then bundles it and just throws it into your JavaScript browser. But not in the Nextjs. Nextjs, it doesn't work like that. Whatever you need, it will just render it and cache it. Okay, so for the first time, when you just navigate to the application, it feels slow because it is just caching, it is just rendering from the database. Whatever you request for this, it is giving you the HTML. But when you do it for the second time, it is so fast. As you can see, now it's so fast, it doesn't have to do the caching. Okay, it is so fast, it doesn't have to do this. Now we need to make sure we just add some data to the database. So for that, we need to set up our Prisma. So for Prisma, make sure we need to just install something, and we need to work with our Prisma. Okay, so let's install all of this stuff. So npm install Prisma. And not only that, I want to install the Prisma/client. Let's see. So our Prisma is installed. Let's see in the package.json. And as you can see, Prisma client is installed and Prisma is installed perfectly. And now we need to make sure npx Prisma init. Okay, so if you want to make sure you have a file called Prisma schema, you need to make sure you just write npx Prisma init for initialization. And now as you can see, if you we have a schema.prisma file. Then if you want to add like PrismaDB pool to turn your database schema into Prisma schema, you can do this, or you can write PrismaDB push to migrate your models. Okay, so these are the commands that you need to if you want to do work like very quickly like us, you have to just memorize it, or you can just show it inside the documentation, or you can ask ChatGPT for it, as I have done it here. I forgot about it. I just asked whatever thing I have to do. It just says everything. Okay, so make sure you use the ChatGPT properly so that you understand it. And you make sure you just use the MongoDB. This is how to connect your MongoDB. This is the thing that you need, and this is the database format, string format that you have to use if you really want to use the MongoDB on your applications. So in the schema.prisma, it has already given us a generator client, Prisma client, and this is the thing we don't want. We want MongoDB, so we need to get that thing. Just copy this stuff, and database DB provider is MongoDB, and this is the database URL. So I need to make sure I have an environment variable, and this should be our database URL. It's already there, but we need to replace it with the MongoDB one. Okay, so let me do this first. Okay, so our database URL should be set up. So just go to MongoDB and create a new cluster. I hope you understand how to make a new cluster. You just log in that, and if you have an account, just sign in with the Google, or you can use Google account. And here you can create a new project and just give it next blog app for YT, next blog app YT, and create a project and just create it. And you need to make sure you just use the free version of it. But if you have a decent application that you have a good earning, that you can use the paid version. Okay, so based on your requirements. So we are just learning the free version, which is just fine. And the India is very close to my country, my country is Bangladesh, and the India is really close to our country. So I think this region works really fine for me, but for you can select other region. And I'm gonna name it as next blog YT. You can give any name, no problem whatsoever. Now it's done, and you can use any password or username. Normally I just give username this one, and the password auto-generated secure password that you can use. I'm just using it for now, but later I think I'm gonna change it. You can just copy this stuff and just paste it. This is your password. I think this will work just fine, and this is your username. Normally you should save this thing. Okay, this is very simple stuff, and this is a local, and you just give you can give your own IP address. Okay, and I'm not gonna do this IP address. I'm just gonna finish editing and just create it. This is very simple stuff, and it will take some time to do this. So make sure you have to do one more thing, which is network access, so that I can access the application from any places. So you just need to edit it. You have to allow access from anywhere, so that you can access all the information from the database from any part of the world. Okay, so you have to use allow access from anywhere, and it will make sure you have an access entry like this, and just press confirm, and it will work just fine. It will take some time to load all of this stuff. So it's activated now. And now what you have to do is just need to go to this applications and database service, and you need to connect it. And here you can use many other things, but normally I'm going to use this Compass. I have a MongoDB Compass installed, and now I can use this thing, this setup. I can use this thing, I'm just going back. MongoDB Compass, make sure you also install it. It is really awesome. You can control all the thing of MongoDB if you don't know. Just go to new connection and add your connection, and you have to add your password here. This is the password, and just add this password. Okay, and you should copy this stuff again. Okay, save and connect. And this is blog YT. Save. As you can see, it is now connected. Already need to paste it inside this env file, and you need to paste this stuff with your MongoDB SRV. This is the link, like your username, your password, and this is the thing that they really suggest, to use your database URL like this. Okay, you should just copy this stuff and paste it here, and you just need to copy your username and your password. Okay, and this should be your password and cluster name, and in the last segment you need to have your database name. So what is the database name? So database name is like next blog YT. I think this is the database name. So let me remove all of this thing. So /database name, you should have this format of your MongoDB database, and your username and password set up properly. Okay, so after that is done, and domain setup is also done. I already show you how to set up it. There is also a newer version of it, but normally just understand how it works first. Okay, then I'm going to show you the latest version part by part, because this is a Nextjs complete course. This is not just one video, it would be 2 or 3 videos, so it will take some time to learn all of this stuff. Okay, so be patient and just work with it. And then we need one more file inside the app, which is our lib. I think I have already created this libs, and I'm just naming it prismadb.js. Here I need to make sure I just make it reusable. So I just need to copy this stuff. Okay, this is the thing that I need. Okay, so it says if you don't have a Prisma client on your global, okay, in the global environment, you have to add it later. If you don't have, you need to add the new Prisma client on your global environment. And this is very useful for the production. If you don't have a Prisma DB, they will just give you a Prisma client so that you can work with it, and make sure you just use it as a reusable component. Okay, you can access the Prisma DB from any places. This is really important thing. So this part is really important. If you don't understand it, you can just have to read it a lot from the documentation, how it works properly, because this is a very important part. Okay, our setup is done, our provider setup is done, everything is all completely set up. Now you just work with our relation. Okay, so you just need to copy everything from the post. You can do this stuff, and you just need to come here, Prisma client. Here, instead of post, we're gonna create a blog. Okay, and blog have an ID, and this is the ID default auto map _ID. As you know, if you have used the MongoDB database previously, they have an ID which is _ID, which is unique ID. What it does, it will just map every single _ID and give you a normal ID, so that you don't need to write _ID again and again. And make sure it's the type object ID, because this ID is an object and it is a string. So this is really important. And the blog normally has a flag field, but I'm not doing it. I'm just keeping it very simple. And I just make sure I have an image URL field, because this is very important for the blog. And this is a string. And make sure this is it is not mandatory. It says it's optional. You can have your image or you don't have it. It's not that mandatory. So you can do this, but most of the people, I think, like images on their blogs or their posts or their courses. I think you can just keep it this way as well. Then we have a title. This title is very mandatory field. This is very important field. and title, and this is not a body, just this is a description field, and this is not, again, this is not that important. Description is an optional field, and it has an author in, it is connected with the user. I'm not doing it like that. I'm just keeping it a simple string, and this is mandatory field. And if I want to give it a default value, and you can put anything, default value like is my name, I just given it any default name because this is a required field. This is very important. Later when you're going to implement the authentication with the user, this field would be really important. Who is the author of this blog? Whoever creates this blog will be the author of that blog. Okay, so that user would be related with it. And author ID is not needed here, and it will have a comments. So later I'm going to build a comment here, but ID, image URL, title, description, author, category. So one more field is category, and category is very important field. I think this is a string. We have a published. This is a published. This is a Boolean field. Okay, this should be a Boolean field, and by default, I'm just keeping it true. By default, this is a published. By default, okay. And we have a comment, and then we have created, and this is a datetime field, and it should have a default now. Okay, if we just write default now, it will add the current timestamp when you have created this block. So this is another important field. And then we have the updated at, and updated at, you just need to just write at updated at whenever you update it. You don't need to write now. Okay, so created it, updated it, published, category field. These are very mandatory field. Author is mandatory field here. Again, I just default is my name, description, title, image, all of this stuff. So I hope you understand all of the system. This is nothing new. This is all old thing. And now we need to create one more thing, which is to make sure you have a relation with the comment. Okay, because in the second part we're going to work with the comment model. So this is really important. And here I'm going to copy all the stuff. I'm going to paste this stuff. ID is important, but image, title, description is not needed. We don't need all of this thing. And then what even you need, comment. This is the actual comment body. Okay, this is the comment body, and this is a string, and this is very mandatory field, and author is mandatory field, and default is given. And then we have the blog ID, because the each comment, all the comment would be under a particular blog. Like blog ID 1 have 50 comments, so this comments is actually the child of a parent. So a comment is actually the child, and the parent is blog. So you need to keep reference which blog ID we are currently in. Okay, and it should have a string, and it should be db object id, db dot object id, because blog ID is normally an object ID. Then we need a blog here, blog, and this is should to connect it, and make sure you just make a relation with it. How can you make a relation with it? First we need to apply the fields. Which fields I'm making relation with the blog ID. Okay, blog ID, and we need to give a reference. Which reference? Like we need to make a relation with the blog ID with blog's ID. This blog is referring to this blog and its ID with its ID. Okay, you can just make a relationship very easily. And this blog is not that mandatory to me, but the blog ID, this to keep track of this blog ID is really important. So that's why it's the mandatory field, and this is obviously an object ID, because blog ID is actually an object ID that is mapped. Okay, so this is how you create a relation. We have created a relation with comment and blog, with the reference field called blog IDs with this ID, with the blog's ID. This blog ID is this blog ID, and this is the reference. Now in the comment model we have the blog ID, so from which blog ID we are having this comment, okay, to reference it. So this is really important. If you don't understand it, make sure you knock it and just comment it. So this is a simple model, we just work on it. And here if you want to have one blog has multiple comments, you just add a comments, and here you're gonna write comment and give an array syntax. Okay, so this is very important. So this is having one-to-many relationship. Blog have multiple comments, and comments have one parent, which is blog. Okay, text here, this is too much bigger. I think the text is better. This is the actual text, and this is the author and this ID. I think this would look better because comment body is a little bit bigger. I think this will work just fine on you does everything. And don't worry, I'm not implementing the authentication here. This is for the next part, because authentication is a big thing and you need to understand it from the core if you want to do it properly. Okay, so that's why I'm keeping it a separate way. So then we have to write how to migrate all this stuff. I think I should write npx Prisma DB push. As you can see, comment and the blogs, those are pushed into the database. I think it's fine. Now if I check it here, if I connect it again, as you can see, next blog ID, this is your database name, and in the database you have a blog and the comment section as well. Now is our time to build our just blog post. Okay, so this is the thing that we want. So in the blogs, add blog, here we need to create our very important form. And before that, I'm gonna give it h2 tag and class name of text center add blog page. Okay, text center margin top of 4 and px2 py2 and font, you can just write font bold. I think let's check it out. If I go to add blog page, I think it should be text 2XL. Just give it a larger text, add blog page, it works just fine. And now we should have a form, and this is by default a server component. Add blog page, this is a server component by default, but now here I want to inject an client-side components. So how can you do that? So in the components, in the forms, you can just make it a new folder to handle all the forms. In the components, we might have all the forms, and in the forms we're gonna have add blog form dot JSX. Okay, add blog form dot JSX, and here I'm gonna import this add blog form inside this page, inside add blog page. Here add blog form. As you can see, it's coming from app/component/form/add blog form. This would be a client-side component, and this should be a client-side component. So I'm gonna use client, because we have our interaction here. We should make sure use client. Okay, and now if I add console.log add blog form. Okay, now inside the add blog form. Okay, as you can see, we are inside the add block. Now if we inspect it, and as you can see, if I console it, add block form, because this is a client component. If I didn't use this thing, it would be a client side component, it would be a server side component if I didn't use that use client. As you can see, now it's inside this. If I refresh it, as you can see, there is nothing there in the console, only in the terminal. It means that now it has become a server component. Now I'm doing it again, use client to make it a client-side component, and just do it like this. I think it will work just fine. And now we need to get this form. Now form design is almost completed. So add post form. So this is the form we need. Okay, this is the form. So perfect. So this is the form we need here, add block form. Okay, and we need to have a button that calls add this thing. Okay, so let me import it, button. So it is coming from the UI component, and label it says add blog, and color is green. Okay, because button takes two parameters, which is as a props, like label and the color. Okay, so in the add block form, I think it will work just fine. It is imported. You need the image, title, description, category. You can use select form, but I'm not keeping it that complicated. It is just a UI part. I just wanted to show you how the Nextjs 14 works and the server actions work. So I think it will work just fine. Let's check it out. Yes, it is working. And even you can write something on it. It works just fine. So whole page is a server component, except this navigation and this component. Now, how can we pass some data into the database? So that is the important thing here. We don't have any on change, all of this stuff. And also make sure you name the title perfectly. This title, category, and the description. Okay, so those are really important. The image URL, these are the name where you're gonna get this data from. So for that, we need to create one more thing. So let me create our folder called actions. This is the most funniest part here, where just magic will happen. Okay, the magic will happen. You will see what magics we have. Actions.js, and here I'm gonna write all the magical stuff. So let me go to the server actions, and here you'll just find server actions. If you just search it, as you can see, it's inside the data fetching, mutation, and caching, servers and mutations. As you can see, it is working just like a charm. As you can see, this is how we get the data from the form. This is super useful and really important. So first thing we have to do is use server, because this is a complete server component here. Okay, export. So now you need to import Prisma client from the Prisma client, and we just need to import other stuff. Const Prisma is equals to new Prisma client, and just getting a Prisma instance so that we can work with the Prisma ORM. And here we need to create a function, export const add blog is equals to, and this is an asynchronous task. Okay, export const add blog is equals to async from data. This is how you're gonna get this data from the form. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna write const new blog is equals to await, because this is an async function. You can do await task like prisma.blog, and it has all the access to prisma.comment, because we have the comment as well. Comment, this is actually another model. First, you're going to work with the blog dot create, and here we need to pass some data. What we want to create? First, we need to get the data, like const title is equals to form data dot get title, and this should be the same title as this thing, this forms add block form, this title, this name title. This is how it just recognize that we are getting the data from this input title. Same for other fields. Okay, so let's do this. This is for the title, and we just need to copy and paste this for multiple times. And this is for category, and this is for the description. And another thing is the image URL. form data dot get image URL. Okay, so these are information that we need. Form data, image URL, title, category, description. If you forgot, you just look it into the Prisma here. What we need: image URL, title, description, category. Published is true by default, so we do need to add this thing. Okay, so let me go inside this add block form and the actions. So these are the 5 fields, 4 or 5 fields is really needed. So now here you're gonna add all this stuff. In the image URL, I'm gonna pass this image URL, and in the title, I'm gonna pass this title in the backend in the MongoDB, and in the category, we're gonna pass this category, and description, we're gonna pass the description. So if you have an image URL, because image URL is optional, if you don't pass anything, if you have an image URL, you're gonna pass image URL, otherwise it's null. You won't pass anything. Okay, so if you want to, if you just check it here, it would be better, because sometimes the image URL is optional. Sometimes you have it or not. Okay, so after it does all the thing, you need to revalidate the cache. So after it does everything, you need to revalidate the path or tag. If you use revalidate tag, you can just specify which model, like comment model, blog model, whatever you write. If you use revalidate path, it will revalidate the path. Okay, and it will revalidate /blogs/add blog. If you don't write this thing, so first I need to comment it out. So I want to show you what it happens, what it does. Okay, so this part is really important. And then we need to redirect next navigation. Make sure you import it from the /blogs. After it adds some data into the database, it should redirect it to blogs, and it also comes from the, if I just go inside the revalidate path, this is, as you can see, it will give you everything that you need to understand it. Okay, you can revalidate the path based on particular post. You can just, whatever you write, it is coming from the next cache. It will just updating the cache. So you are adding a new data into the database, it should reflect all the latest information in real time. So most of the cases we use this thing. Okay, so that's the revalidations. And this part is really awesome. You don't need to worry about it. All the thing is documented perfectly and so beautifully here. And also redirect. If I just go to redirect thing, and just in the redirect, you just give the path. This is the path that is important. And if you want to push something, you can also use this stuff. As you can see, it works really awesome. When you do something, like if you just log in, you need to redirect this to dashboard or any other stuff. So this is for the navigation. And one more stuff is for use router. I'm gonna show you later, not at this moment. When I implement the search feature, you understand all the system much better. So wait for that. Okay, and the new blog is created, and you just redirect us to this page. Okay, applications. So these are the image link. So let me post it inside the database. And this is the title, and the title should be learn web development. Okay, and the description is already there. Okay, description, and the category is web development. Okay, add the blog. Okay, so before you do all of this stuff, you need one more stuff, which is everything is done. Now we need to get the main stuff. We need to export this add blog functionality inside this add blog form. Now how can we do this stuff? Before that, we need to use on submit, but now we can't do that. We have to use something, which is action. This is the new stuff. This is add blog handler. Okay, this is the thing that I have created, and here I have to use const add blog handler, and make sure this is async again, because we need to pass form data. And here, this is the important task. We're gonna await add blog. As you can see, it has come from the server actions, and it takes parameter which is form data, and you need to pass the form data. This is the information that you collect from your form and pass it to your server actions, and server actions will process it and push this information to the backend using the Prisma ORM. So this is the stuff. So if we just add blogs, and it will get all the data from the form. As you can see, it gets all the data from the form and push it to the database using the Prisma ORM. This is how you push the data. Okay, this is how you collect it. If I just write it, collect info from form using form data. Okay, and here how you push it, push the data into the DB. Beautiful. And you just revalidate the path. So it's done perfectly. So let me show you that what it does in the server action. So this is the new part. You just write actions, you get a handler, and the handler, this should be an async wait function, and you get the form in the params, and you're going to pass this form inside the server actions parameter, and this will does all the magic for you. You don't need to write any other thing. Okay, if I add it, let's check it. Yeah, it worked because it has redirected to the blog. It has redirected us. As you can see, it has redirected to the blog. So before we used to do this kind of work inside this redirect inside the client component, which is here, but we should do it inside the actions now. So this is the difference. So now we need to check the database if it added something or not. Okay, nice, beautiful. It has added some data as well. Okay, so now we just need to make sure we just show some information in the client. Okay, but the problem is that you have to clean your form. So okay, so if I just add anything, you need to clean your form directly, okay, immediately. So what do you have to do? You can use in the add block form, you have to import something called const ref is equals to use ref. You can use anything, use use context, use effect, or use state, whatever you like inside the React component. When you say use client, you can use all the React hooks. You need to have a reference, and the reference, I'm gonna use this reference. And when I add something into the blog using the form data, when it adds something, you make sure you just clean the form data. Reference dot current, it has an object called current dot reset. You have to reset the form. Okay, so let's check it out. If we just type something, as you can see, it refreshes the form. Okay, after adding, so it is working just fine. This is how you refresh the form. Refresh the form. You just call the use ref hook and just attach it to the form, and after it adds all the information, just refresh the form. Ref.current.reset. This is how you should do. So if I just go into the MongoDB here, this is some junk information. So now the most important thing, this is the thing that is completely changed. This is one part which is really changed from the React to the Next 14, when the beginners really have some problem understanding all the problems, that what they should do when they do form submission inside the client component, and you just push it inside the server component, because this add block, this is inside the server component. Okay, so we are using a server component now inside a client component. So this is how we're going to use this stuff. Okay, reverse step. We're going to also use the server component, a client component inside the server component, and that was inside the blogs add blog. This page is actually server component. We just injected a client component here, and here when we have some interactions that we on form submission, you need to add some data to the database. We just added something that is completely a server, which is add block function. We just imported it from the actions. So we are using inside the client component, we are just calling the server actions. Okay, so this is really an awesome stuff. So I think you have to understand it when you just first work with it, make it 2 or 3 projects, you will understand it much better. And then we need to get all this data. So if we go to the all blogs here, now this is the funny part. Here we have to get all the informations. So here inside all the blogs, here I need to just copy all of the stuff from the add blog form. Add this thing. I want to have, okay, so this should be all blogs. Okay, here you need to get all this data. So how can we get all this data here? You can get all the blogs directly here. So before that, we need to make sure this is an asynchronous component, because this is server side. You can do any asynchronous operation without any problem. But before that, in React component, in React, when we have a blog listing page, we can never do this. We have to use like fetch like /blogs/all, and then we need to get the data. Okay, we have to pass something, and then we're gonna return JSON. We need to pass data.json, all of this stuff. Okay, so before that we had to call our API to fetch our data, and we need to make a separate function using the use effect. We have to use use effect. Okay, before that, and pass our empty array and call our API inside this use effect. But now we don't need to do this stuff. This is very simple now. This is very simple. We can directly access our database here. So let me show you. Await Prisma. We just import the Prisma client, and const Prisma is equals to new Prisma client. Okay, and you can directly just go to prisma.blogs. You can, as you can see, directly access it. You can do any database operation, like you can count it, you can delete many, you can create anything here, and you can also blogs.find. First you can get the first object, or you can get find many to get all the array of objects on the blog inside the database. You can just query all those out. So this is, if you want to filter, you can use where. Okay, you can do all other options, all other thing here. And I just want to console.log all the blogs. Let me show all the blogs here. So let me go there. Okay, blog/page. So what's the problem? Okay, so you can't import client-side hooks inside a server component, because this is a completely server component, as I used async, and by default all of the components are server component by default, as you can see, and there is nothing inside the console of the browser. So you have to get all this data from the terminal. As you can see, we get 2 objects, like first one is web development, and then is a junk. As you can see, it works just fine, and by default it has a author, my name, and published true. Yes, it is also working. The default values are also working, so it's really fine. So you can directly fetch it from there. But normally I don't do this stuff. Normally I just you can do this here, or you can just make a simple functionality here. But for now, for this purpose, for this home page, I will have my search component here, and we will have a lot of queries. So I think I should just keep it here. Again, this will just fine. Or you can make a simple function to fetch, and you can call it. I'll show you both the ways how we can do this. And before that, here I'm gonna export function fetch blogs, and I think, and this should be an async function, and this should be blogs. Const blogs is equals to await prisma.blog.find many, and you're gonna find many you're gonna fetch everything. If you just keep it empty, it will fetch everything and return us the blocks. Okay, so fetch blocks, export const, sorry, it should be export const fetch blocks, and you're gonna get everything. So let's check it out, and you're gonna comment it out, and here you're gonna const blogs is equals to await, because yeah, this whole component is async, you can do anything. You just fetch blogs from the server actions. Okay, and as you can see, this fetch blogs is giving you all the thing, and now you can catch it inside the blogs, and you can show this thing. Console.log new, make sure this is a new one so that you understand it works. As you can see, this is a new one, and it also works just fine without any issues. So a lot of complication here, so I just want to make it clean. I don't want to export anything. Okay, I think this will work just fine, and now it's time to render all of this thing. Okay, so we have all the blogs. Now if you want to show you all the blogs here, if blogs dot length is greater than 0, it means there is some blogs. So blogs dot map each blog, and you're gonna return an item, which is blog item, and you're gonna pass key, which is blog ID. And as you can see, now it's blog ID, it's not underscore ID, because it already converted and mapped it all the underscore ID into the ID if you use Prisma ORM for the MongoDB. And our blog is equals to blog, and we need to create a blog item, and the blog item component is there. This is your blog item component. So you need to create a component called blog item, .jsx. I'm gonna pass everything, and I'm gonna write it here. This is a blog item, and I'm gonna pass all the stuff. And here I'm gonna use normal image first to show you how it works, and it should be blog dot image URL, and it should have blog, because I have passed all the blog. So here, as you can see in the blog item, so it's imported, and I have passed the key, is fine. You have the blog, you can blog image, and you have the title. You can object the structure, and you can have the ID, title of the blog, or keep it empty, description, category, and image URL. So you don't need to write it like this. And description, here you're gonna write description, title, description, and here we have the category. Beautiful, title, description, category, and all the stuff, and image URL. So 4 fields is there. Okay, from the blog. We just object the structure it and just add it here. And let me show you. Well, it looks pretty beautiful already. It looks pretty good. Already. Get blog here to see. Yeah, it's working really nice. Now let me go to our blog page, and here you need to design it a bit. So you have the grid. You can just copy all of this stuff. Here, all blogs. I'm gonna paste everything. Let me check. Yes, now it's grid layout. This is responsive now, so it's working really fine without any issues. And you have your all blogs. So these are all your server component, because these are your blogs page, blog listing. There is no client component here. Okay, and it is working really fine, but I want to use the image component later. But first let me find the detail page, because the detail page is really important and I need to show you something more important. Okay, so how can I go to the detail page? Here I need to use the next link, and I need to wrap this whole image inside here. And first we need to make sure if image URL is there. Okay, if there is any image URL, then I'm gonna show the image URL, or otherwise null. Okay, so it makes sure that if there is some image in the image URL, they'll see something, otherwise no, nothing. And we need to have a link, so that I can go to link, and it should go to href/blog/id. You need to pass a dynamic ID. So for that I need that ID inside the blog item, and also this I need the link inside this title tag as well. So I'm gonna wrap everything here, and need to give it href. This is how you dynamically link from one page to another page. So if I go to this page, it will go to this detail page, as you can see. So this one is different. This is 31, this is 2f, so they are completely different. So dynamic routing is working really fine. So dynamic routing even working awesomely without any issues. So now let me show you the detail page, how we can just implement it. And for the detail page, I wanted to get all the information using the params. As you can see, we have the ID, and I can fetch this information. And for that, I can make one function, and here I can fetch single blog. Okay, and I need to pass an ID. How we can fetch it? Find first, where find, it should be find first. Find first, where you need to pass the ID is equals to ID. Okay, this is really awesome stuff. And you can also do this because this your title and this object and this value name is same. This is just to show you how you can do this stuff. These are all the same thing, and you can also pass the ID is equals to ID. Okay, you need some ID. Okay, fetch single block. Now we need to call it inside our this dynamic page, and we want to show the information first. Const blog info is equals to await. So if you want to make sure it is await, we need to make sure this is the asynchronous function, because blog detail page by default, and this is the main root page where I have a lot of component. We might have client component, we might have server component, but blog detail page in general is actually a server component. So we can do asynchronous task. We can get the data from the database from inside this component. Okay, so we just get the data from this ID, params.id, and now we need to call await fetch single block. And in the single block, what it needs just a simple ID, and we already got it. And based on that, we're gonna get this information. Now console.log this, and if I just blog info, and I'm gonna write blog info. Okay, so let me see that information. As you can see, we are getting this information already, blog info. Okay, in the backend. So this is working just fine because we are inside this thing. We are inside this thing. If I go inside this thing, then it would be different. We should get the dummy information. As you can see, this is the dummy data. Okay, so this is so interesting how we can do the work now without calling the API, just to make a function that calls everything for us. So this is a beautiful thing. Now this is just call it simple blog, and I think I have the design for this as well. So this is the design. I just copied it, paste all the design. So this is the information that I got. I just write category, title, and broad description, whatever information I got, and if there any image, if there is a blog.image URL exists, then you're gonna render this image, otherwise not. This is simple, just rendering check. But now it's time to show you the output. As you can see, it is working, but the second one won't work because it doesn't have an image, but this one works just fine. As you can see, image, and it is also optimized image. Okay, so if I refresh it, now it's time to show you the power of Nextjs image optimization. And basically it has a lot of feature. Like first feature is the quality. If I just put 100% quality, it will show you the 100% quality most of the cases. And just before I just need to show you some information. Like if I just add this thing and just remove this is a normal image tag. Okay, this is normal image tag. When you just inspect this, and if you just save image, as you can see, this is a JPEG format. Okay, JPEG format. But this is the thing that I found out. If I just write Next.js image, and this image from the Nextjs, and I just write quality 100%, make sure it is quality 100%. This is a simple property that it used. You need to use the pexels.com hostname, and this is the thing that you must do, pexels, and you just need to go to the domains and just add your thing. Okay, so if you use next image component, a next image optimization technique or optimized image thing from the Nextjs, so you need to, so as you can see, it was so much important. If you use the Nextjs image thing, then you have to use this thing, and and as you can see, the image quality get degraded, and for some reason, if I just go there, because this image that is coming from the next image is optimizing this, even though the quality is 100%, you are getting a degraded quality image. And it has some loading by default. It is a lazy loading. If you have a lower level server, like if I just go to inspect, and now if I just want to show you something, if I just go there, as you can see, now it has added a lot of things like source set based on some different devices. The rendered pixels is different, the file size is different, all of the thing. It is also lazy loading. It has to property height and weight, which is really important. This is a mandatory field, those sort of thing. So it has added all of a customization, optimization on it. And even when you want to just save this image, as you can see, now it is a web.p format, which is really optimized for the web version. Before I used the image only, it was JPEG or other format. But when you use image from the next image, it is very optimized. Okay, and it has this field and height and weight. These are the two fields are really mandatory. These two fields, if we don't add this two field, it would cause some error. Okay, and there's some other field, other fields here like placeholder. You can add a placeholder here. Type blur. Let's see. So you need to use one more other property, which is blur data URL. See if you use placeholder, which is blur data URL, and you need to pass this image URL. I think this blog.image image URL. Okay, and source tag and alt tag should be your title. Okay, alt tag should be your title. This is very important, and give it a height and weight. And the quality, you can work with it, you can play with it, you can give it a placeholder. But if you add a placeholder, you need to add the blur data URL from which the image is coming from. You need to use all this stuff. And now we need to check it if it is actually working or not. In the network tab, I need to just disable cache, and the throttling, I am just using first 3G. So let me check this out. As you can see, it is loading lazily. Okay, it is not directly coming, it is loading slow by slow. It is loading the images properly for you. So if I disable the cache, it will do every single time it had to load. If I go to home page, as you can see, it's working very slowly and is slowly loading everything. But here it doesn't work like that. If I go to if I go to in our detail page where I implemented the next image, but if I go to home page, it should be instant. As you can see, it's instant because in the home page, in the blog listing page, I didn't add this feature. So I need to add all the feature. So these are the feature that we need. We can copy all this stuff and go to our listing page. So if I go to our listing page, blog item, and here I have to use the image from the next image and pass all those things like placeholder, blur data URL that is coming from the image URL. Here I need to pass only the image URL because I have destructured this, and blur, lazy, quality 100%, source. I think as I have added a placeholder and lazy loading, it should work fine. Pixels.com, missing required property, image with source tag, this height and width. So okay, I just forgot the height. If you have to give it a height, so like that, you need to give it a height weight property, the blog item. Similarly, it will work just fine. As you can see, now it is working relatively fine. So just refresh it, and in the network tab, I'm going to disable the cache and first 3G. Now you'll see it will load slowly. As you can see, slowly is loading. So our everything is working. Our next image thing is working properly with is lazy loading and with a placeholder. So just make sure you add all the property like height, weight, quality. Make sure it works just fine. And this is for the blog item. If I go to the detail page, here I want to show the image like 10% of the quality. So let's see how it looks now. Oh my god, it looks so bad. It looks so bad if I just add 90%. So make sure you add a high quality image on your detail page, because this will render image high quality, and it's also responsive. As you can see, this is pretty responsive. And if I just go to inspect and network tab, and here if I go to the responsive thing, if I go to iPhone 12 Pro, it feels responsive. It feels really responsive. Okay, if I go to the home page, it's working. It's really responsive. It's working really fine. So now I just go back to no throttling. I think now it will look good. Yeah, now it looks much better. And this is the content that we have. This is working really nice. So our detail page is almost done. Now let's add some data. So let's add blog, and now we add some pixel images and some title, some description, and some category, and add this thing. You see all this stuff here. Give it the cache. So it's working really fine. Here I need to make sure I revalidate the path after I add all of this stuff, add blogs. Now make sure you just update all of this stuff. We make sure we have the functionality to update this thing. So how can we do this stuff? Update is also very simple. You just don't need to worry about anything. But I'm gonna take some rest and make sure I will show you how the update functionality works properly. So first do the updating of the blog, and then we're gonna deep dive into how we're gonna do the search feature functionality, which would be really interesting for you guys. I think we're gonna learn a lot of stuff. Okay, so let's do this stuff. Okay, so previously our ad fetching and getting the database ID and the detail page was all done. As you can see, it was all done. But now we need to create a functionality so that I can just implement the update feature from now. Okay, so in the detail page I should have an update feature. Okay, so we need to create a form, and this form is update blog form .jsx. Update blog form, we just need to import it, and you're gonna remove the React stuff and make sure it's a use client component, because all the block forms are client components. So we have the UI, this is update block form, and we need to just copy all of this stuff. Okay, so this is our update form. Now we need to create our page. As you can see, all the pages name, normally, as you can see, this is the detail page, this is the blogs module, and this is the add blog page. Okay, where we have implemented or added the client component inside the server component, as you can see. And now we need to do the similar thing for the update page, and we need to just create blog/update blog, and this should be a smaller case. And for component, you can give a name like uppercase later. There's no issues whatsoever. It's completely up to you, whatever you like. Normally, I'm from the React. I'm really comfortable with giving a component name of uppercase, so that's why I'm doing it. You can do it anything. Okay, so this is update blog. If I go to blog/update blog/id, whichever blog I want to update, and here inside this id, I need to create page.jsx. This is the page level. This is update blog page. This is page level stuff. Okay, and we have the id, params. We need to have an id, const id is equals to params dot id, and here we need to pass this thing. Here from the page and blog page, you can just copy this stuff. You can make a reusable component, but this is not the purpose of this video. I'm going to do it later. In the second part, I should just fix all this stuff, but now at least watch what I'm going to do. This is actually update blog page. Okay, and we should have an id here, and we need to check it if it is working or not. id, and this should be the id, and we should have a form. This is a page, this is a server component, and we need to inject the form here, which is update blog form. Okay, and that is coming from our component forms. As you can see, we have the form, we have update blog form. Now update blog form is a client component. We need to pass some data to it. Okay, so what data? Here we need to pass the data that is inside the database. We have all the data. We need to fill the input field with this particular data. So we need to get all of this data. Now how we can do this? So for this page level, as this is a client, we cannot do this. In the page level content, which is our this, okay, and here by dynamically we have the id, and by using this id we can fetch each individual block's information. Very easy. And we already have this stuff. As you can see, fetch single block. We can reuse this thing here. So I'm gonna get the here. If I write a comment, you're gonna get a better idea. So get the dv info for each blog to fill the forms, because we need to fill the forms with the data. This is very, very important to get updated. So now with data, log data, we're gonna await, and to make it await, we need to make it async. Okay, and this is a server component. We can do asynchronous tasks. This is very simple stuff. And we're gonna fetch await, fetch single blocks. Okay, that is coming from the server actions, and it takes only parameter id. Beautiful. Okay, or you can check, you can give a check if we have a id, then we can fetch a block. Okay, so normally we are checking it. If this is id, we can fetch it. There is no issues. And also you can just pass this information. Blog is equals to blog. Now I have passed all the information. I think I should see this. If I just go to blogs slash, what's the id of this blog? we just have to have an ID. Make sure we are inside this blog slash update blog slash ID. So we have a problem. Okay, we need to import the button inside the blog component. We didn't import it. Button, APY button, and its name is update blog and color green. Okay, now as you can see, the ID is displayed here. And if I go to update blog slash page, this is the update blog page, and this is the ID that we got from the params. As you can see, it is just rendering here, just to show you that it is working perfectly in the update page. Nice. And here we just need one information, which blog information we want to collect, and we are collecting it from the database. As this is an asynchronous component, we can just do it very easily. And we already have the functionality created on our server action separately, so there is no issues. We just have to pass the ID, and we got the information, and we are just passing to the blog form as a prop. And here we need to get it blog, right? And here you're gonna get all of this stuff like its ID, title, image URL, category, and the description, author, all this stuff from the blog. Okay, or empty. You're gonna get this, or you're gonna get the empty object. Okay, so we have title, image, category, description, author, all this stuff. I don't think we have added any author field, but author is generally my name here. So title, image field, category, description, these are the 4 fields that is basically important. So yeah, 4 fields, so we need to work with it, and we need to fill this data with the form. Now we are in the update blog page, and we need to fill this information. And in the input, as you can see, we don't see any data that is coming from the database, but we should have, because we are passing the prop, and we got this data inside the prop of update blog form that we got from this page, update blog page. We just pass this data. Okay, and now we should have all the information in our input field. And what we can do, we can pass the value here like title, like image URL, you can pass value as image URL. But if you just add this, you cannot type anything. As you can see, this is, you cannot do any other work, you cannot update it. What you have to do, you need to use default value. So this is the thing that you cannot use. Image, if there is image URL, you're gonna use this image URL, otherwise there's nothing there. Default value. Okay, so now as you can see, you can update it. Okay, now you can work with it. So default value works really fine. Okay, now image URL, then we have same for the title. Default value is for title, and same thing is for category and descriptions. And this for cat, and this is for description. Oh, I think this is for the description, and this is for the category. And this is for the category, this is for the description. And make sure the name is also perfect, because we need to collect the information from the form as well for the update, and it should be perfected like similar to this. Otherwise, when we pass the information is a form data, and we don't see anything. As you can see, now it's filled up with the form. Now we can update something. I'm not that UI guy. I'm normally a web developer. I love to implement features or the new things, all the things. It's still duty to do all of this stuff. Okay, so here we also need that ref. So const ref is equals to use ref. Now why we can use this hook? Because it is a use client component. Okay, and here to attach ref is equals to ref. Beautiful. And we need to have an action that can do the handle update blog. Okay, handle update blog function, and we need to create a function that will handle update. Okay, so const handle update blog is equals to, this should be asynchronous, because we need to call the update function, and we need a form data for this. and you need to pass it inside something. So you just need to get the data from the form data. That's it. It's similar to like add page form. It's similar. We get the data from the form. The only thing is different that we need some ID here. So if I go to the actions, and if I just copy the whole thing, okay, and this is for update a block. We are gonna update one single block. So here I'm gonna write update block, okay, and this update block takes two things. One is ID and the form data. Form data is to collect information from the form, and this is should be name is updated block, okay, and this should be prisma.blog.create. Instead of create, it will create a new instance. We need to update it, okay, and it takes some parameter like where we want to update, where we need to pass the ID, blog ID, where ID is equals to ID and this thing, okay. And similarly you can do a lot of other stuffs here, and you need to pass the data here, and the data is all the thing like is that instead of writing all this thing, I have already written this. The first one is image, title, category, description, which you can do, okay. You can do it like this, but this is the modern JavaScript. You can, if your variable and the property name is same, you can just add this thing. This will work just fine. And this is for the update, and which record you want to update, which blog ID you have passed, and you need to pass it from the form, okay, because in the form, if you go, it will fire and it should validate. You need to use dynamic data here, okay. It should be /blog/update/blog/id. You need to pass the blog ID, and how you can get it, you can get it from this function, this ID function, and here this is the path you need to revalidate. Revalidate means update the cache. When you just add a new updated block, you need to update the cache immediately and redirect us to this page. You can just go to just home page, okay. This is normally our home page. You can go to there. So what we have to do, we just collected information from the form data, and we need to keep track which ID we're gonna update it, this blog, because we are updating the blog by its ID. This is for updating. This is super important. You know, this is very basic stuff. And here in the update blog form and the update, you need to call the await update blog, and it has come from the server actions. It takes two things. First one is without thinking, this is the form data, that the information that we need, okay, and the form data information, and one more information is the ID, and we already got it as a form, that ID of the blog. So this is very easy stuff. And after that, ref.current .reset. You need to reset the form. Reset the form, and it is done. Perfect. Handle update, and I think it will work just fine. And update blog is working fine. I need to revalidate the path. Which path? This update blog path. And yeah, this should be done perfectly. And this should, you shouldn't update the image link because this will have some problem. And you just name updated. Okay. Web development, make a mistake. Sometimes mistakes are the really good thing. And update the blog. Okay, it immediately updated the cache as well, as you can see in this is updated, this is updated. Okay, beautiful. And just we need to update it. And now we need to go to that page. How you can go to the update page, we need to make a link here. So our updating is working just fine. It's beautiful. So if I go to pages here, blog item, and if I go to detail page, so our detail page is here, this one. And in the detail page, I should have a link to go to update blog. Okay, and you're gonna get href 2/blog/update blog slash, just we are going to blog/update blog/ is id. And how we can get the id? We are already getting blog.id or params.id, whatever you need. You can just get this id from the params, or you can get the id from the blog. Just writing it blog.id, I think this would make better sense, or id, whatever you like. Okay, and it should have a class, and it has a shadow and mx2 px2. Let's see how it looks. So okay, we have a button here, and we should have a border gray 400. Let's see how it looks. It looks so bad. Is gray 700, gray 700, and bg gray 200. I think it will look better. Yeah, update the blog, and we should have some margin. Not bad, it's quite good. If I go to update blog, you are just going to that. I need to refresh it. Update web development, this. Okay, update it. Okay, so our feature is done perfectly without any issues. I think it is really awesome, and for all of the thing it works just fine. So our update feature is done, creating is done, all of the thing is done. One more thing is the UI. The UI doesn't look that good, and if I go to the root page, blog item, I think in the detail page you should have all the content, but in the listing page you shouldn't have all the content. Here dot slice, this is a JavaScript inbuilt function. You can slice up to which up to 100 suppose 100 content, and you can get a dot. So wow, now it looks better. You're just slicing how many content you want to see on your UI, and this is responsive as well. Yeah, it's pretty good. Three elements, 3 elements in each row. No, yeah, not that bad, pretty well, considering I'm really beginner in UI design. It's pretty nice. It's working awesome. And now we need to focus on our search feature, okay, because search feature is really awesome, and without this your application looks really dull. So we have a search component here, search.jsx and RFCE, and in search we need to understand it tons of things. And first we need to have the UI. So this is the UI, and you just pass this UI. So on change you need to get the data, like similar in the previous way how we used to do the in handle search. We just create a function and get the data from the UI, like e.target.value on change. In the input we're gonna get the data, and I'm gonna console.log this out. So const handle search is equals to, and I'm gonna console.log, and in the handle search function we just add a new field called e.target.value. This is the value we need to get from our UI, so we just name it as query, and console.log searched data is actually what the user typed, yeah, on the input, and we need to show it inside the component. And make sure this is the use client component, because we have interaction here. Beautiful. So don't forget this is very important for the Nextjs application and web developer, especially the Nextjs developer. This is super useful, and when you work with many kinds of project, different kind of project, you will have your hands dirty with it, because you just have to learn by building project. It will be it would be stored in your brain memory very easily once you work with it. Now what we have to do, we have this search component, and we need to pass it inside our this blogs. This is our listing page. So this is our like home blogs listing page, and this is a server component. Okay, we are fetching all this information, and here we're going to implement the search feature, and here I'm gonna implement this search component. Okay, and in the search component we have, so let me show you this. Okay, now we have the search component. We can write something, and if we just go to console, as you can see, whatever you searched, like if I search for web development, it is web development, whatever. Now as you can see, we need to have a URL similar to like URL search params, like whatever our search params like should be in the blogs, how you can get the data. So it should be like your path, whatever your path name slash query. This is your query parameter, or you can name it anything like search or query. It is just the key. This is just a search parameter, how you search it. Like query is equals to what the user typed, like user typed, what user typed. Like query is equals to science. Okay, so this is the science. Give me all the blogs related to science category. Okay, you can do this like this way, or you can just add and limit is equals to what the user put, like user give 5 or 10 blogs related to science category, and you can do this stuff. So this is the thing that we have to get. And if we want to get multiple parameters, then you have to use split, and then after splitting you need to join. Okay, you need to join by this ampersand sign and much more if you want to do multiple filter searching. Okay, so here we need to get this information. So how we can do this? So we have this search feature, and whatever you typed inside here in the on change, you get the data. Okay, and it's responsive, as you can see, it looks better, and it's whatever you type. Now we need to get information. So how can we get this? If I just get this use search params that is coming from the next navigation, this is the thing that if I just copy this and paste this stuff, on search params is equal to use search params, and you need to import it, use search params. So this is the thing this says. So if you just write now search params.get search, you're gonna get what the search items. If you just copy this stuff and paste, and I'm gonna name it query. Okay, search query is equals to search params.get search. If you just write here, if you just write blog slash query is equals to something, then this name, this is the key query. It can be search or query or anything. It can be also like queue, but for your understanding, I'm just naming it query. This is the key name. So this is the key name. We're gonna get it using the query. This is the key. And not only that, you need to use router, path name, search params, and you need to pass the information URL search params. Then you're gonna get everything. So now what you're gonna do, you're gonna use those stuff there. You're gonna delete everything, and I'm gonna write const use search params. I'm gonna getting the hook. Then we have the path name. So how can we get that? I'll just use path name. Here I'm getting it from the next navigation. So what is the thing there? We are getting the path name, which path we are currently in. So this will give me the path of current URL. Okay, path of the current URL. Then we need to import the replace, and that is coming from use router. Okay, and now you'll see the magic here. And in the handle search, and you need to use all this stuff outside of this function. Okay, Now is better. And inside the handle search, we need to write const params is equals to new URL search params, and here you need to pass the search params. Okay, search params is what the parameter we have, like a question sign, ampersand sign, query. Okay, this works really well for the search parameters. As you can see, it's URL search parameters. It requires a URL that completes URL. Like if you have like http://blogs query parameter query is equals to title. Okay, whatever the title, user type. So this is a complete search URL, search parameter, the complete URL of whatever you want to search. So it converts everything, whatever you have in the search params. So URL search parameters. Okay, now you can easily just do this const params. If there is query, whatever users typed here, this is the what user typed. If there is any query, you're gonna write params dot set. As you can see, you can set something. You can set query is equals to query, and this is the key of ampersand query, and it can be anything. It can be search or whatever. Okay, so this is the key that we are setting. If there is any query, we need to set it. Otherwise, we're gonna params dot delete the key, and then we need to replace what? The path name with params, with whatever the parameters that we have, params dot toString. Okay, this is the functions. We are just converting full parameters that we have into a string, and this is the path name. This is the localhost /blogs, and this is the ampersand sign, and whatever the parameters you have, like query is equals to title or category, whatever. Okay, similar to this. So this is the complete path name. Whichever path you are in, it will just replace it with it. So now let me check it out. So if I write signs, as you can see, we are just checking. So how beautiful it is. RCNCE, as you can see in the top, it's saying blog /query/sign. So this is the whole URL that we want to replace. So this is the path name. So this is the blogs, this is the total path name, and then with the params, and in the params we said the query is equal to whatever the user typed, and this query is actually the key. So that's why this is the query. If I typed it Q here, so let me show you, then this should be different. So if I just write it like Q, so you will see it would be like different. It is like Q is equals to signs. Okay, ampersand, and this would be the Q. So this is nothing but the just the property set query by which we're gonna search. This is the search query parameters. Okay, and we're gonna convert it into a string so that the whole search parameters, this whole search parameter becomes a string, and by this is the search parameter are always a string, so you need to replace it with it. If we don't add replace, this URL won't be replaced with this. Okay, it would be like this, it won't be replaced. If I just remove this thing, now you just see what happens. If I just remove this thing, and if I write signs, the user type signs, but it is not replacing. You need to replace the URL with it. Replace the URL. So now if I write signs, as you can see, it is replacing with the query string. So this is the thing that is very important to understand, and these query parameters, and that's why you need to set the params.set to set whatever the query string the user typed. Okay, and this query is nothing but the query which we're gonna search for. You can name it anything, whatever you want. Some people find it very confusing, but this is very simple. Step one, you need to replace it, otherwise you won't understand what is going on here. Now how can we get this information? This is a simple component. How can we get this information inside this page? How how we are getting this. So here we have the feature called search params. Okay, so this is the page props. So if I go to there, here, as you can see, we can access the params. We already did this for our blog. This detail, as you can see, params, we have the ID, whatever you have in the parameter. And when we go to this page, we have the search params, and this search params can be anything. It can access any search params. Okay, now we need to access this thing. So if I just search params and console.log this, and this is blogs page search params, so we need to invite, so we need to check it out. And this is a server component, so we should get this. As you can see, this is the query, this is the search query by which we're gonna query the information, and this is the thing that user typed. Okay, so if I just write it science, okay, as you can see, now if I just go inside the server component, and as you can see, this is the query. So it should be like search params.query. Okay, so this is the thing that I have passed. As you can see, blogs science. Now by this thing, we're gonna get this data. Const query is equals to search params.query. And you just need to uncomment this out, comment this out, and we're gonna get the search params.query. This is the data, how we're gonna get this information, which the user, which type of category or which type of title the user search for or query for. Now I need to filter this data. So that's why I am using this thing. I need to use where, and here you just can't write like title contains query. If you just write this like this way, it might work. If I just write category contains query, if I write science, see, it's working really fine. We have all the science block. Okay, if I just write fashion, you're gonna get the fashion. Okay, beautiful. So it is working really fine. Now you can use debounce here in the search. It's completely up to you, whatever you use, but I always recommend to use debounce. But if you want to use multiple search category, you need to use or. Okay, here you can use or. In the or, you can use multiple search here. Like title is like contains query. Okay, and you can use other stuff like here you're gonna search by title or by category or whatever field. You can add multiple field. As you can see, this is an array of object. You can do this stuff, but what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna search if there is any query. If there is any query, and we just use a conditional logic. If there is any query, that we're gonna use this thing. Okay, this title contains this query or category contains this query, which user types. This is how you filtered the data. If you have multiple fields based on other property you want to filter or search for, you can also do this using the or. And you have another feature also, which is and here also using this, here also you can use this kind of feature. Using the and operator, you want title and category both same type, and in this particular case you should use this. Like I want the title is equals to science and category is equals to science, and both should match. Then a special query, it is like that. And it means if there is any query, you just get the data based on what the user used or user typed or user searched for. Otherwise, give me all the data. Otherwise, fetch all the data. Blogs. It is just conditionally rendering everything, nothing fancy, very simple stuff. So now I think it should work just fine. If I just type web, if I just type web, this is a title masked web, it also worked. And if I just write web dash development, it also worked. Telescope, it worked just fine. And if I just want the science, the fashion, the science category, and get all the science. So if I just remove this, automatically it's gone. So that is the replace part. If I add fashion, as you can see, query is equals to fashion. So this is this URL search params. So that's why the URL search params on this page is super important. This line does all the tricks, URL search params. And if you have the query, you can just params.set query, whatever you say, or otherwise you should delete it and you just replace it. And that's why the path name is super useful. It gets the path of your current URL. And how you get the params? You're gonna get the param.set, already set it to your params, that whatever you want to set, it can be query, search, whatever the thing, and you just convert it to the string. So whole thing, the search query thing, is actually, as you can see as a demo, this is a string, and you're gonna get this search params and this search params inside this blog listing, where you're gonna get this query. But based on this key, we're gonna search every single blog. Okay, so I think this will work just fine, and this is the search feature that many people wanted, and this is the thing that we should understand, how you're gonna build a complete applications. And you always need a feature that is really useful. So search params by multiple field, multiple property is always very important. As you can see, it takes some time to go into one page to another page, but when you do this for next time is really fast. Next time is really fast. The first time it just caches, and then from the next time it is just blazing fast. Okay, so this is the thing that this is server-side rendering and client-side rendering is does for, but in real application, all the navigation is always fast. But for Nextjs, first time is slow, and after that is super fast. As you can see, now it's super fast. But when you reload this, now it's not that fast. Reload, and you should remove the cache, and then as you can see it's slow. But now if I click this, it's instant. Now if I click this, it's instant. Now if I click this, it's instant. So it works really awesomely, and Nextjs is really awesome. It gives you all the benefits of just server-side rendering, SEO friendly, and you don't need to have all the libraries like for routing we used to have different kind of thing. we have a lot of thing that we don't need anymore, and all the thing is super optimized, super. So in the next part, I'm going to show you more exciting stuff, like deleting all of this stuff and how you just revalidated the cache, or all other stuff I'm going to show you in the next part, and also how you can implement the full comment module and make it interactive. You're going to see it in the next part of the video. So as you can see, we have the comment, we have a comment list. We're gonna implement these delete buttons so that it can delete every comment by its ID and just revalidate the cache property and make their application real time. And also we have a client component with like write comment and submit comment would be added to the detail page as well. So the second part is also really important, where I talk about a lot of things, how you can build a complex applications and how you just manage layer by layer so that you can get a full feature of your Nextjs projects and full understanding of what you want to really learn and feel as a Nextjs developer. So this video is already long. I'm not bragging any much. So till then, take care, bye bye. I'll see you in the next video with more awesome and beautiful content in the near future.